We are halfway done with the semester, which means it's time for a reset. Oh, my tea. My name is Megan. I am an ESL teacher at a university in China. I'm also getting my PhD in education. Welcome to Teacher Talk, where we just sit down with a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. I have some red tea right here, and we are going to talk about all things teaching. I love to yap. I love to talk about teaching. I love my job. But the start of the semester has been a little bit crazy. It always is for the fall semester in China, just because we have a lot of holidays at the very beginning of the semester. We have freshmen joining. So it is now week 9 of our 18-week semester, and week 8 was the first normal week. So it's a really good natural time to just sit down, regroup, figure out where we are, and make some plans moving forward, because there are definitely some things that I want to change moving forward. The first thing I want to do moving into the second half of the semester is I really want to match the students' energy a little bit better. My natural reaction when I walk into a classroom is I just switch into teacher mode. It's very upbeat, it's very energetic, it's very bubbly. Students are really tired, and I try to pull them into the class and I pull them into the discussions, and I tend to compensate for whatever lack of energy they may or may not have for that day. And so I did this last week with a particularly difficult class. Their energy is just kind of low. Instead of trying to take them from level 1 and pull them up to my level 5, I just kind of was at level 3. And they responded so much better to that. And so I think I want to keep that in mind. Also, I'm going to be more and more tired as I move through the semester, so I need to keep that in mind as well, especially for my voice. I've been straining it a lot the last few weeks, so I do want to just try to match their energy a little bit better as I moved into the second half. The second thing I want to do moving into the next part of the semester is I really want to make sure I am ahead of lesson planning, just for my mental health, my mental peace of mind. If I know there's a lesson that I haven't planned that's coming up, it just kind of sits in the back of my mind and is constantly nagging me. So I want to make sure that I am at least 2 weeks ahead throughout the rest of the semester. At the beginning of the semester, that honestly is a little bit hard to do because there are just so many changes. In China, we move around the holidays. It's confusing, it's a whole thing, but it makes it really hard to keep on top of things when your schedule is constantly shifting. I just know I function better that way, and I also like teaching that way as well, because as I'm talking in class, I know exactly what's coming in the next week or next week. I know specifically the vocabulary words that we're going to talk about because everything's fresh in my mind, and I just find that's a lot better for the students too. For number 3, I really want to have more fun with the students. To be honest, this was my main goal when I set goals at the beginning of the semester, and just in the chaos and in the busyness, I kind of forgot about it, and I want to go back to that. At the beginning of the semester, it's easy to get caught up in attendance sheets and filling out forms and learning new students' names and making sure everyone knows what to do for the homework and making sure we're setting good habits and being a little bit strict at the beginning of the semester. And now that we're into our routines, now that I know the students and they know me, I want to relax a little bit more and have a little bit more fun with them. Talk with them before class starts, kind of interact with them more throughout the class periods as well. Along with that, number 4, I want to stop talking about work or class as much. For so many years, for 3.5 years during zero COVID measures, students couldn't leave campus. They couldn't go out and about. They couldn't do anything. And so when I would talk to students in the beginning of class, our conversations were pretty limited. They pretty much were just, how are your classes going? There was no, how was your weekend? Because everyone's weekend was exactly the same. We all just stayed at home and did nothing. Oh boy, the flashbacks. But all of that is over. So now when I'm talking to students, I want to talk about something different, something other than just how are your classes? Are you really busy? Do you have a lot of homework? Because I don't want to be that teacher. The other day, one of my students said to me, "Wow, Megan, you're so busy." And I internally cringed. As a recovering workaholic, I don't want to be that person. I was that person for so many years. It's like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. I don't want to be that person. I want to give a good example to my students about how to balance your work and your life. And yeah, I know you're a little bit stressed because you have a ton of homework to do. Yeah, I know you're stressed because you have a presentation next week, but like, did you enjoy yourself during the weekend? What are your hobbies? Do you do any exercise? What did you and your friends do on the weekend? I want to talk with them more about this because I think it builds better connections, but I also want to set a better example. I know they're busy with school and work, and I don't want that to be the only topic of conversation that we have every single week is just negative talk about how much homework there is and how difficult the assignments are. Let's talk about something other than work and school and class and all of our responsibilities. And the last thing I want to do moving in for the rest of the semester, which don't judge me for this because this should be a no-brainer, but I want to remember that being a teacher is so much more than just sharing knowledge. Of course, this is my job. Teaching grammar, teaching vocabulary, preparing them for the standardized test that they're going to take in December. But I don't want to be the kind of teacher they just forget at the end of the semester. I would so much rather be the teacher that they remember a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, as actually having an influence on their way of thinking. This last week, my students were just going through it. One of the students came into class and I was just checking homework, and as I walked up to her, I saw a giant tear just stream down her face, just one single tear. I talked with her about what was going on and asked if she was okay, and she just said that she's really stressed and she's really overwhelmed. She just had a presentation and she's worried that it didn't go that well. And so I tried to encourage her a little bit. The other class, there was a student who she just sat down and just burst into tears. And her roommate next to her was just, hugging her and talking with her. And I came over and she said that she had a lot of things going on in her personal life. Another student came up to me and she told me that she's just been feeling down, which I noticed. I noticed she had been off the last week or two, like just not as energetic. And when I asked her what was wrong, she had just said that she felt a little bit tired and a little bit stressed. But this week she opened up to me and she said that a teacher at our school had told her she would never be able to speak English well because of her voice. She has a really deep voice. I'm getting angry right now. It doesn't even make sense. You're able to speak English well with a deep voice. People do that all the time. And so she just said that she'd been a little bit discouraged about studying English the last few weeks, understandably, because she had gotten that feedback. And I noticed that she was feeling a little bit off, and I wish now that I had dug into it a little bit more. I'm not responsible for all of my students' emotions in the class. I'm not their therapist. I can't help everybody, but I don't just want to be a teacher that shows up to class, teaches some grammar, and then assigns homework and leaves. I want to invest in these students' lives, and I want to be there for them. I want them to feel encouraged when they talk to me. They're able to have a conversation with a native speaker. They're able to use vocabulary words well. My students are making progress. I'm seeing them make so much progress this semester, and I really want to encourage them a little bit more as we go along. So not talking about work and class, I think, is really going to help with that. Talking more openly about a variety of topics, but I also want to give them more direct encouragement as well. Choose a couple of students who are doing a really excellent job, and instead of just subtly telling them that they're doing well, maybe make it a little bit more obvious. As everyone's leaving, walk up to them and say, hey, you did a really good job with this listening section today. To get super specific with the feedback, I think maybe that would be more encouraging for them, more motivating for them as well. Hopefully, I didn't blabber on for too long because I tend to like to yap, especially about my one of my favorite topics, teaching. But these are the things that I want to do for the rest of the semester. Maybe you are also at a midway point. And I know, especially in America, you've got Thanksgiving and you have the holidays coming up. There are a lot of things going on for a lot of teachers everywhere as we finish up this semester. But maybe you can kind of take a moment to reevaluate, see how things are going, see what changes you want to make moving forward. I also feel like this time is discouraging, and so I feel a little bit more motivated knowing that I have some new goals and some new focuses as I move into the classroom for the rest of this semester. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for joining Teacher Talk. If you'd like to see more videos about all things being a teacher, lesson plan ideas, you can check out the other videos on the channel. You can also check out the website at atlasteachingesl.com. If you have any new goals that you want to start doing for the rest of the semester, leave them in the comments down below. It's always encouraging for me to see other people's ideas. That's why I love watching videos like this and hearing other people's thoughts online. If you enjoyed the video, like it. That just tells YouTube that other people liked this video and maybe they will send it out to more teachers. Okay, that's all for today. I am going to go do some work, get ready for this second half of the semester. I'll see you next time. Bye.